Alright, let me break this down for you, because if you're anything like me, a diehard Browns fan who lives and breathes every snap, every offseason headline, every rumor, you're exactly where you need to be right now. So go ahead, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, and let's make sure you never miss a thing, because what we're building here, it's not just another football channel. This is a home for real Browns talk, deep dives, real analysis, film breakdowns, kind of gritty, unfiltered conversations we crave as true fans. Now let's jump right in, because this Browns offseason, man, it's been straight up chaos in the best and worst ways. If you blinked for even a second, you probably missed like 5 major storylines. It's been one curveball after another. First off, those wild Myles Garrett trade rumors, they came out of nowhere and sent the whole fan base into DEFCON 1. Then, right when we thought it was over, we got hit with the roller coaster of his contract talks. Half of us were glued to our phones, refreshing every insider tweet like we were watching stock prices crash. And don't even get me started on the quarterback drama, because let's be real, quarterback questions in Cleveland, they never actually stop. It's like a carousel that just keeps spinning no matter who's under center. But today, I want to shift the spotlight a bit, because while everyone's been busy chasing the big names and flashy headlines, the Browns front office has been sneaking in some seriously underrated moves that could quietly reshape the entire 2025 season. And one of those moves, Malik Collins. I know he's not the kind of signing that breaks the internet or gets fans racing to buy his jersey, but let me tell you right now, this signing might end up being one of the smartest decisions this team has made in years. No exaggeration. Here's the situation. Collins became available after the Niners made a surprising roster cut. He still had a year left on his deal, but San Francisco had to make tough calls to free up cap space, especially with extensions looming for guys like Brock Purdy and George Kittle. So it wasn't about Collins underperforming. This was just business, pure financial maneuvering, and the Browns, they didn't waste a second. They swooped in and locked him up with a 2-year $20 million deal. That's not just filling a gap, that's replacing Dalvin Tomlinson and adding veteran muscle to an already dangerous defensive line. And here's where it gets even better. The fit is perfect. Collins plays his best ball in an aggressive, attacking scheme, and that just so happens to be exactly what Jim Schwartz loves to run. I've been digging into the tape, and Collins, he's not just some big body eating up blocks, he's disruptive. He penetrates. He lives in the backfield. Over the last 4 seasons, he's consistently ranked in the top tier of interior pass rushers. According to PFF, he hasn't had a pass rush grade below 70 since 2020, and last year, he was 7th in the entire league in pass rush win rate among interior linemen. That's elite company. Now imagine that kind of interior pressure with Myles Garrett screaming off the edge. Quarterbacks won't have a pocket to step into. Add in Mason Graham, our first rounder, who's already flashing signs of becoming a 3-down beast. You've got a front that can collapse protection from every angle. But look, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Collins does have flaws. Specifically, his run defense. That part of his game has been shaky, with grades dropping into the 40s the last couple years. That's near the bottom of the league. And yeah, that worries me. You don't want to get gashed on first down and pray the pass rush saves you on third. But here's the thing, fit and coaching matter. Environment matters. And in San Francisco, Collins was asked to do things that didn't really match his strengths. In Cleveland, under Schwartz, he's going to be unleashed. Attacking, getting upfield, causing chaos. And I think that could help bring his run-stopping game back to a respectable level. Maybe not all-pro level, but good enough to stay out there on all 3 downs. And that's when things get exciting, because with the depth we've got, Garrett, Collins, Graham, and guys like Ogbo Okoronkwo in rotation, we're looking at one of the deepest, nastiest defensive fronts in the AFC, maybe even the league. And in the AFC North, where every yard is a dogfight in the trenches, that kind of depth wins games. That finishes games. Now, I want to talk leadership, too, because that part often gets overlooked. Collins is heading into his 10th season. He's battled against every kind of offensive line you can imagine. That kind of experience is huge for someone like Mason Graham. Collins can show him how to prep for games, how to take care of his body, how to carry himself like a true pro day in and day out. That matters. Sure, there's a little risk here. Collins is 30, and for D linemen, that's around the age when wear and tear starts creeping in. But if we manage his snaps wisely, keep him fresh, use him in those critical moments, I honestly think this signing could be one of the sneakiest deals of the offseason. Now, here's the twist. Nobody's talking about it. While everyone's fixated on the Garrett contract drama or whatever the latest quarterback saga is, I truly believe the front office's masterpiece might be this Malik Collins deal. It's quiet, it's calculated, but it's the kind of move that winning franchises make. Depth, experience, value, a guy who fits the scheme and still has gas in the tank. That's how you build a contender. Speaking of Myles Garrett, yeah, we gotta go there, because there are whispers coming out of Berea, and not just harmless chatter, the kind of whispers that tend to turn into smoke, and where there's smoke, word is Garrett is heated. I'm talking visibly angry about something that was said behind closed doors. Now, the details are murky. We don't know exactly who said what, or even the full context, but apparently, it involved a dismissive comment about Shedeur Sanders. Now, if you've been following Sanders out of Colorado, you know the hype is real. The kid has talent, swag, toughness, you name it. And apparently, someone in the organization downplayed that, called it into question, and Garrett, he wasn't having it. He's always been a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, especially when it comes to respecting other players and the game itself. Whether the comment was about Sanders' leadership, his skill sets, or just what he represents as a new era quarterback, whatever it was, it struck a nerve. And honestly, I get it. Garrett's been through every flavor of dysfunction this franchise has had to offer. He knows how fragile a locker room's chemistry can be, and he's not about to let some careless remark, especially about a young QB, derail the culture they've been trying to build. Because here's the truth. This kind of behind-the-scenes tension, it can destroy a season before it even starts. So, yeah, this offseason's been messy. It's been dramatic. But buried in the noise are some moves like the Malik Collins signing that could end up being the foundation of something special. Now, you take that kind of hype and drop it into a place like Cleveland where the quarterback conversation never dies end. Of course the speculation starts rolling. Could the Browns ever make a play for Shedeur Sanders? Could he actually end up here? Or, and this is where it gets murky, did somebody inside the Browns building already write him off? That's where this whole thing takes a turn. Because when you start hearing rumblings that something was said, something that rubbed Myles Garrett the wrong way, that's when you stop and pay attention. And trust me, if Garrett's genuinely upset, we're not just talking about gossip. There's probably some fire under all this smoke. And whether it's about Shedeur or something deeper, that kind of tension inside your building, that can shape the whole season before it even begins. But let me be clear, regardless of whether anything major comes out of this, one thing is already obvious. The Browns are building something. Some of it's loud, some of it's real quiet. But if you look close, you can see it coming together, maybe one of the most complete, most dangerous rosters we've had in a long time. So yeah, you're watching Garrett, and maybe you've got an eye on Shedeur, but don't sleep on Malik Collins either. That move right there, that could be the one we look back on when this defense starts wrecking people's Sundays. Now here's the part that really caught my attention. I started hearing whispers, small things at first, but the more I dug, the more it started to line up. Apparently there was a closed-door conversation. Myles Garrett was in the room, and someone said something about Shedeur that just didn't sit right. Now, we don't know exactly what was said, but from what I've been told, it wasn't just a critique. It was more than football talk. It felt dismissive, disrespectful, maybe even carried that kind of coded language that people like Garrett know when they hear it. And here's why that matters. Because Garrett's not just some edge rusher who turns it on during games. He's the leader in that locker room. He sets the tone, he mentors, he speaks up on things that matter, not just between the white lines, but off the field too. So when he hears something that feels like it's reducing a young black quarterback like Shedeur to just a stat sheet or a stereotype, he's not letting that slide. That's not just football to him, that's personal. And if you've followed Garrett at all, if you've listened to him talk about mental health, player empowerment, equality in sports, you know he's never been the type to smile and nod and keep quiet. If something was said in a scouting meeting, or a film session or whatever, and it came off as biased or flippant, then yeah, you better believe Garrett pushed back. And hard. From what I've heard, things got heated, real tense. Somebody close to the team described it as a pretty serious confrontation, Garrett versus someone in the front office. We don't know who exactly, and guess what? The Browns haven't said a word. No denial, no PR spin, just silence. And in the NFL, silence can say everything. That's where this starts to get a little unnerving. Because when a guy like your captain, your cornerstone, is visibly frustrated and butting heads with the people running the show, that's when you start asking, is this a one-off moment? Or is it the start of something unraveling? I've been following this team long enough to know we've seen chaos. We've seen dysfunction, but this feels different. This touches something deeper. It's not about how high a player's ranked on a draft board. It's about the culture. It's about who this team is and where it's going. Garrett's reaction, that wasn't just about defending that was about defending a vision for this team and, maybe even the future of the league. And I've got to say, some folks close to Garrett have hinted he sees himself in Shedeur, not just in the talent, but in the fight. The fight to be taken seriously, to overcome narratives that get thrown at you before you even suit up. And when Garrett hears someone inside the building echo those old tired narratives, that's when he digs in his heels and speaks up. So now we've got to ask the uncomfortable question: does this affect Garrett's future with the Browns? Because here's the truth, no matter how loyal a guy is, everybody's got a limit. And if Garrett starts thinking the folks upstairs don't really see the game or the players the way he does, that's a crack you can't ignore. That's not something that gets patched up with a quick apology. We've seen stars walk away over less, and Garrett's got plenty of good football left. He doesn't have to stick around if the culture feels off. And let's not twist this. This isn't about Garrett being too emotional or too sensitive. This is about respect for the game, for the next generation, for the guys coming up behind him. Now as for Shedeur, he hasn't said a word. Not on social, not in interviews, nothing. But don't think for a second that he and his people haven't heard the chatter. They're watching this unfold, just like we are. And you've got to wonder, what are they thinking? Does this situation make Cleveland look like a place that's open to change and growth? Or does it make the team look stuck in some outdated mindset? And here's what's wild. This all surfaced in July. Off-season, the so-called quiet time. Most players are on vacation, getting ready for camp. This was supposed to be a chill moment. And instead, boom, we're talking about culture. Wars inside the building. Some beat reporters think this has nothing to do with just one comment or one prospect. They believe this is about something that's been simmering inside the Browns organization for a while now. That maybe Garrett's been holding this in. Maybe he's been biting his tongue for too long. And I hate to even say it, but if Garrett's starting to check out emotionally, that's the kind of thing that breaks more than just chemistry. That's how you lose the soul of your team. Now sure, some folks are already saying it'll pass. That Garrett will cool off, they'll talk it out, and everything will go back to normal. That might happen. Or maybe the team tries to spin this into a leadership story. Myles is just passionate. He cares about the team, he wants what's best, and maybe all that's true. But we still can't ignore the root of the issue. Something got said. It didn't feel right, and Garrett wasn't going to stay silent. That matters. This isn't the old NFL anymore. Guys aren't afraid to speak up, and they're definitely not afraid to walk if they feel disrespected. If this issue doesn't get handled the right way, months from now we could be looking back at this moment as the start of a major shift in Cleveland, culturally or even on the roster. Because when your franchise player starts paying attention to what's being said off the field, that's when the team better start listening. So for now, we wait. Maybe a cryptic tweet shows up, maybe someone finally speaks to the media, or maybe it gets buried by a big trade, or a shiny training camp storyline. But one thing's for sure, this isn't just about Shedeur Sanders anymore. It's about something way bigger than a scouting report. It's about identity. It's about future. It's about what kind of team we want to be. If you're still here, I appreciate you riding with me through this one. Drop a comment below, let me know what you think is going on here. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because trust me, whatever comes next, we're going to unpack it right here, together. Go Browns.